Okay, so this is notes. Hopefully, this is going to look familiar from what we did yesterday. So take out your notebooks and let's get started. I'm going to try and give you a minute to do that. And then just copy down this first problem and draw a graph. Okay, so these probably look familiar. We put this together yesterday. So let's figure out how to go backwards from what we did yesterday. This might be intimidating. Don't worry about it. Let's focus on just the first part. We know how to do that. Y equals 3. We reviewed that. Y equals 3 is a horizontal line that crosses the y-axis at 3. So if I were just graphing y equals 3, I'd be done. This one, though, says it doesn't want the entire line. It only wants the line for x values greater than 1. So I'm going to go to 1 on the x-axis, and I'm going to connect with the line, and I'm going to do an open dot because there's no equal bar here, so it's an open dot. That's review also. I want to keep the part that's greater than 1, so I'm going to keep the part that's to the right, and I'm going to erase the part that's to the left of 1. So when you get good at this, you won't need to do this erasing. You'll just be able to draw the part that you want and be done with it. But for now, we're going to draw the whole line, and then we're going to erase what we don't want. So y equals 3 goes all the way across. We only want the part of the line that's greater than 1 on the x-axis. So here's 1, open circle, because it doesn't have an equal to bar, greater than goes to the right. So we reviewed slope-intercept form yesterday also. Y equals mx plus b. So in this problem, the slope is -1/2, the number attached to the x with multiplication, and the y-intercept is +1. The number that's being added on at the end is the y-intercept. The y-intercept tells us where to start. B for begin is what I always say. So we start at 1 on the y-axis. And the slope tells us rise over run. M for move, how much to move. This can either be -1/2 or 1/-2. It's not negative on top and bottom because negative divided by a negative is a positive, and that's not what we want. We want a -1/2. So I'm going to go down 1 and right 2, down from my y-intercept, down 1 and right 2. I know you can't really see those dots very well, but hopefully you can see them well enough. Or up 1 and left 2. So from here, up 1 and left 2. So this would be the line if I didn't have this. It's called a domain restriction attached onto the end. So if I was just graphing y equals -1/2 x plus 1, I would have that. But they don't want that. They only want it for values of x less than -2. So this is x, right? I'm going to go to the x-axis at -2. I'm going to connect with the line. Again, it's an open circle because there's no equal bar. We'll do one of the equal bar problems in a minute. Less than this time. This one was greater than, so we went to the right. This one is less than, so I want everything to the left. Smaller than -2, like -3 and -4 and -5, etc. to the left. And then I'm going to erase all the other stuff. Easy peasy. Okay, so let's put two of them together. So this probably looks kind of daunting. So let's just break it up. This y equals applies to both of these. So y equals x plus 2. Let's just graph that. Y equals x plus 2. The m is 1, and we like to write it as a fraction, so we have our rise over run. The m is in front of the x attached with multiplication, and the b is attached with addition. So I'm going to start at 2. I'm going to rise 1 and run 1, or I can go left and down to get the same line. That's just y equals x plus 2, and not including the domain restriction. So for the domain restriction, I want to go to 1 on the x-axis. So here's 1. I'm going to go up to the point where I have on the line. This one does have equal bars, so I'm gonna leave it filled in. I wanna go greater than, so I want everything bigger than 1, so like 2 and 3, not this way, right? Bigger than 1 goes that way. So I'm gonna get everything greater than, and I'm gonna erase that less than stuff. What about this one? What's the M and the B here? Well, the M is attached with multiplication, right? So the M is 3. And we like to write 3 over 1. What's being added on at the end? Well, there's nothing. 0. B is 0. There's nothing being added on to the end. So I begin at 0 on the y-axis. I rise 3 and run 1, so I actually end up there. Or down 3 and left. So if I were connecting the dots and just drawing the full line, I would have that, but this only wants for values less than 1, right? So I would think I'd do an open circle, but that was already filled in by this line. So it's actually a filled in circle. Less than is going to be going to the left. So I'm going to erase the rest of that line to the right, and those ones actually connect. So I've got the portion, the y equals x plus 2 portion here, and I've got the y equals 3x portion there, and they connect right there. So you could write the open circle surrounding the closed circle if you want, but you don't have to because that closed circle was already there from that. All right, last one. The M here, negative 1 over 1. The B is negative 1. So I'm going to start at negative 1. I'm going to go down 1 over 1 or up and left. Connect the dots. Less than 0. So here's 0, right? X equals 0 is right here. I want to connect with the line. Less than means open circle. No, there's no equal bar. And then left for smaller, less than. So I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. This guy, M is 1/3, B is 1. So I'm going to start at 1. I'm going to rise 1 and run 3. Or down and over, okay? Maybe now you're getting good at this and you're like, oh, you don't need that point in seconds because you only want to go greater than 0. Maybe you're not there yet. That's okay. So let's connect these dots. Okay, that would be if I didn't have a domain restriction, just 1/3 x plus 1, but I do. X is greater than or equal to 0. So again, this is where x equals 0. So I'm going to connect with the dot. Excuse me, connect with the line. It does have an equal bar, so it's a filled in dot and it's greater than. So I want to go that way, which means I want to get rid of, don't erase your other line because you want to keep that. I'm going to get rid of this stuff. So this is for everything greater, x greater than or equal to 0. So these can look 2 different ways. These ones ended up connecting, these ones did not. Either way, it just depends on how the problem is written, but they're both correct answers. Okay, so good luck on the worksheet. We'll go over it tomorrow.